Our guest today is Philip Bowen. Philip, welcome to the show today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jim.
Yeah,
Happy
man.
to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here in the studio and look forward to learning more about your story.
Positively West Virginia. Positively West Virginia.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark, West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, and Humble Influence. With the help of these sponsors, we're able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one from today's episode.
All right, Philip, let's start right from the top. For our listeners who may not know, and if they don't know who Philip Bowen is, they've been living under a rock. Give us the overview. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now.
I am Philip Bowen. I'm a native West Virginian, and I'm a singer and a songwriter. I play the fiddle. I do all kinds of stuff with my music business, and I'm living the dream for now. You know, like I really set out to do this in the middle of a corporate career, and now I'm here.
Yeah. So, Philip, thank you. I mentioned before we started recording, I'm a huge fan of Philip Bowen. Watching your social media videos as you play your fiddle, and you're not just a fiddle player; you're a virtuoso. I just love your heart and the way you can communicate through your music, and I think it's awesome. But really, how did music get started for Philip Bowen? Tell us how that seed was planted.
I don't remember a time where music wasn't something I was passionate about or that I didn't understand well. In terms of just it made sense to me, I always enjoyed doing it. Yeah. And so when I was 4 years old, I was watching Sesame Street, and this guy, Itzhak Perlman, a very famous violinist, was on TV on Sesame Street, and my mom was very passionate about getting us each to play an instrument. So my older sister was already taking piano lessons. And as only a 4-year-old can, I got so fixated on the violin and the fiddle. And so she found West Virginia Tech was in Montgomery at the time.
Yeah, that's where you grew up.
That's where I grew up, in Montgomery. And the music teacher there did not play the violin. He played the oboe, but he knew music. So she was just looking for anybody to give me some lessons. So I started learning the fiddle from an oboe player at a community college in Montgomery when I was 4 years old.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. So what did that feel like the first time you held a fiddle?
You know, I remember being so excited. It was like a new toy. You know, I'm sure I drove my this Professor Dr. Myers. It was a great guy, and I would like get my bow sometimes and knock his glasses off. You know, I was just like, it was just like this new thing in my hands.
Yeah.
And he was the one that really helped me understand that I was hearing music a little bit differently. So he used to take my music away and just be like, "Hey, it's put on the radio.
Yeah.
Can you just play along with whatever this is you're hearing?"
No kidding.
And he'd go station to station to station, and he'd be like, "Okay, you know how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Can you play it in your own way?" And he'd take the music away, and then I truly see it like colors almost with the fiddle, like a picture. That's how my mom will store these songs. And so it's like almost like I'm chasing this song through a maze. Yeah. But anyways, I had such a love for it early on. And then, you know, it's all around in West Virginia. Like in Appalachia, like we used to go to Vandalia Gathering every year and play. Yes. And
that typically takes place like in the Capitol grounds, right? On the like in the lawn there.
Capitol grounds.
Everybody's just doing free-form jam sessions.
Yes. That was my first experience of that with like the bluegrass scene and folk scene was my dad walking me up to a group of guys when I was like 5 years old. It was the first year I was doing the fiddle contest. Wow. And just, you know, they all look at you and they smile. "You want to jam?" I was like, "What's jam?" And then you just start playing. Yeah. "You know this song? Well, I'll teach it to you." And I've heard this said a lot. This is not my saying, but in West Virginia and Appalachia, like our music and our storytelling is our currency here. And I think that's why there's such a strong tradition. There's so many artists that are doing these crazy things these days from this region. And I think it's because the stories are so rich here. Yeah. So I just fell in love with all that. The feel of that. Yeah. And that like feeling when you finish playing and you hear the crowd, that's the drug. You know, to pardon the expression. I mean, it's just, I was chasing that the rest of my life. And I love that.
That's very cool. Did you have any fiddle players that you aspired to be? Like, you know, somebody out there that you're like, wow, I want to be able to play like them.
There's a great like, fiddle player in the folk scene named John Hartford, who's like a legendary fiddle player. Love John Hartford's stuff. And then there's a lot of people that I would interact with along the way that would inspire me. And then a guy who I've had a chance to meet now, Mike Cleveland, is a great fiddle player. Yeah. And there's a fiddle player named Gabe Witcher who used to be the fiddle player for the Punch Brothers. I loved him. And Sarah Watkins played for the Nickel Creek. And I just love the styling of that. And so my challenge was, I was like, I really play an Appalachian style fiddle playing. It's a lot of feel, a lot of right to your heartstrings.
Yes, exactly.
So the real gift I think with music is being able to make people feel something with like the tool in your hands. That's the sauce.
It's beautiful.
So the push and pull of all that. So that's what I really love.
I think that's amazing. So I'm thinking of a young Philip Bowen, and then fast forward to when I first came upon you, it was several years ago, and catching you on social media. And like I said, you had the West Virginia banner behind you, which I think you still use that sometimes. Yeah. And I thought, wait, is this guy from West Virginia? And just your attitude, your smile, your personality. And when you would light up that fiddle, I was hooked. Yeah. And I've been following you ever since. So tell us about that journey. How did the recent music, when did you start becoming a full-time musician, basically?
Well, to get there, so I did the college band thing like a lot of people. I had a minor in music in college.
Where'd you go?
I went to a small liberal arts college in Florida called Clearwater Christian College for my undergrad.
Okay.
And then I really didn't even know how to go about a career in music. I was so scared of becoming a starving artist. Yeah. My mom just retired as a CRNA. My dad worked in software for his whole career. And they are the most supportive folks, but I always had this idea of I need to really make something with this education. Yeah. So then I went and got my MBA. I didn't know what to do. So I went to University of Tampa, got my MBA in marketing. Thought I wanted to teach college. I did that for a semester as an adjunct. Yeah. And then I went and started working in marketing. And so my whole corporate career was in marketing, and I was very blessed. I had a great career that I loved the people at VML, the place I used to work. Yeah. But I was miserable in terms of feeling like I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And so all this comes back around. I was doing little weddings on the side for friends just for fun. And people would always ask me if I did it for my job, and I wasn't. I had stopped writing and stuff. And so right before COVID, I had decided that every day in 2020, I was going to do something music related, no matter what. Create every day was the rule. Wow. And I still have this little 3x5 card behind my desk. Create every day and see what happens. Create every day. Wow. And I really did that in 2020, and the world shut down. So the long and short of it is I started putting some stuff online during little breaks in the day. I was working from home. There's some videos out there still in me in a spare bedroom in our house at the time. And I did not know about lighting or mics or any of that. And my rule was that music pays for music. So I never used one penny of my corporate salary to pay for music. I wanted to prove that it could sustain itself. Yeah. So to get to where I was able to do music full time, I made myself surpass my corporate salary 2 years running before I quit it all the way. Wow. Which I don't necessarily recommend that route. It almost killed me the first year I was trying to do full-time work and full-time music. Yeah. And then I pulled away. I did part-time work. They're very good to me, and they basically paid me in benefits. I'd do a couple client meetings a week, a couple recap emails for people, just whatever, pitch decks and stuff like that. And then I would just be out on the road. So I have memories of being at 3rd and Lindsley in Nashville, wrapping up a Teams call, sending out a proposal to a client, and then artist mode up on stage, And then
that's the definition of grinding, right? Yeah. I mean, you were really dedicated to seeing how this thing's going to work. Yeah. And honestly, it was basically the side hustle route. People start. That's right. A lot of times they'll start a business as a side hustle, and the next thing you know, they're like, "Now what do I do?" I'm making as much as I was in my job, and now I got a decision to make, and that's kind of you had a runway there that was able to bring the boat closer to the dock before you jumped on the boat. And
when you realize that you jumped into the ocean and there's no more life raft, you don't even see the boat no more, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And you're like, okay, well, as you know, cash flow in business, I mean, that's a tricky thing.
Yes, it is.
And especially in my business where it might come in waves, or you get a good set of bookings or private events or sync work or whatever it is. Yeah. And you got to figure out how to make it work. So I'm very thankful for my life experience before this. I used to regret not doing it sooner, but the business experience and stuff I had, I really feel like I was more well equipped to handle the business side of this, which is not always the most fun thing in this job as a creative person. Yep. But I got young kids too, so I was not willing to just cut all that loose and risk everybody's on my dream. Yeah. So there's a really famous artist from our state that told me very early on, he's been good to me, and he was like, you fund your passion until your passion starts funding you, then you quit. And I always think about that. So once I was like, okay, this can fund me, let's go. I love it. And so that was the big leap.
Yeah, thanks for sharing all that. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Voted best in Mountaineer Country for their reliable, high-speed fiber internet for a low cost, Breezeline is the best gig in town. You know, here at Interaction Media, we rely on high-speed internet every single day to ensure we can deliver the best content possible for our clients and when we publish Positively West Virginia each week. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, fast, and they're great people as well. Learn more about Breezeline's internet, TV, and mobile options at breezeline.com. Folks, we're visiting with Philip Bowen. Philip is awesome. He's a musician born in Montgomery, West Virginia. Now he's just known on international stages. So, Philip, again, thanks for being here. What's the thing that has you most fired up right now? What are you excited about?
Man, I'm excited for new music and touring this year. I'm very excited for all of that. You know, I even though I just put out an album in October, like, there's always like these other things that you're working on and trying to like create and go. And so I'm excited to be doing this for my job. Any day I get to do music is a good day.
That's very cool. Let's talk about your music. Let's talk about the albums. Take us back to the first one.
So the first album is called Old Kanawha, and I recorded that with Zach McCord, who's a West Virginia producer, writer, great guy.
We've had him on the show before. His studios in Clarksburg, West Virginia.
In Clarksburg. And Zach's a great dude. And it's kind of how I met Charles, and we got connected on a few things.
Charles Wesley
Godwin, who's a West Virginia guy too. Mm-hmm. And I just put out my second record called Appalachia Forever. And so that's been a real grind to just, okay, we got 2 full albums out now, work on the next stuff. And it's been a real joy to be able to tell your stories in such a way that people can enjoy them and listen to them.
Yeah, that's amazing. How is the music business from that perspective? You got a couple of records out. You're on Spotify. You're streaming all these different places. What's the business model like? I mean, do you get royalties? Or do you make your money on performances? How do you make your living?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, and I did a talk about this last year at WVU. They had a music business and industry conference. Yeah, and we talked about how do you make this an actual living. And the real principle here is that you have to have it coming in lots of different ways. So for me, the fiddle helps me not have to travel all the time. I do a ton of session work, means session work is when you put your instrument on somebody else's record.
Yeah, and how does that work today with digital recording? Mm-hmm. Like they can just send you like the track and you can record it in your home.
That's right. I'm blessed to have a really great home studio now.
Okay, great.
And so if it's like a major label project, like I played a lot of strings on Noah Kahan's record, the Stick Season record.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah, like That's Halloween, amazing. Strawberry Wine. I got some good credits on that record.
I love that record. That's a great record.
So next time you listen to Halloween, you'll be like, that's Philip. And so, but that's a major label project. Yeah. So sometimes they'll want you there on site. They got the budget for that. Yeah. Yep. And then for most recording I either do it in Nashville at somebody's studio. I just pop in. Hello, I'm in town. Let's go. Or I'll do it from home. And I do them for artists large and small. I also do a lot of sync work, which sync work is when you're doing composition work for commercial use. So I do a lot of work with WV Tourism and I've done stuff with lots of brands. Because of the size of my social media following, I do some brand deals here and there or promotional stuff that's called white labeled content. Like you'll never see me on there being like, I drink this, but like maybe I'm wearing something, maybe I'm talking about a brand. So I like doing that. And then I do tour and streaming royalties and private events every now and then.
So multiple streams of revenue, like you said, it's essential to make a living at it.
Mm-hmm. And you're not reliant on one thing. So let's say if touring just goes away for a little bit. Yeah. Well, what else can you do? So I feel like whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, like if you only have one client and they're the best client in the whole universe, they're the best client that's ever been a client. Yeah. It's not great because if they go away for whatever reason, then you're really out in the woods with nothing else coming in.
As a business owner and an entrepreneur myself, I've been in that boat. That we call it putting your eggs in one basket.
That's right. That's right.
And then that basket drops and all the eggs crack, and you're like, oh my goodness.
You got people as you build a team. You got people relying on you, and so I have a lot of people that I work with that I really love that believe in what I'm doing, which is very humbling. Okay, well. So you have that added pressure of feeling like I got to make this go for not just me, but these people that are investing their time and energy in me. So,
Philip, what would you say was the moment where you had like the quintessential big break? Like when you're like, oh my gosh, here we go.
I think the thing that really changed my life was when my songwriting started getting recognized. And so for me, I was truly about to quit doing this. I was just so burned out. I was doing both. This was at the end of 2022.
Yeah.
So my plan was to kind of go into the holidays and tell my family, like, hey, I think I got to pull back. Like, I'm not doing well. It's just too much. It seems too impossible. And on December 27th, Mountain Stage called me to be on Mountain Stage. And it's a huge honor. Like, I still don't know who pitched them my music to get on. So I got to be on the opening episode of the 40th season.
Oh.
And being on Mountain Stage as a writer and getting recognized for that really changed my life. All of a sudden, I was getting invited to do the Bluebird. I was getting invited to do these other things as a writer.
The Bluebird Cafe.
Yes, sir.
In Nashville.
Which is also you can't just go do it. It doesn't matter who your manager is or agent is. Like, they got to invite you in.
Yeah.
And then you got to pass. And then maybe you come back. And so I started getting all these invites to write and to play. And that to me felt like the tipping point of like, I really look at that moment all the time as I could have quit and I didn't. And then, so that moment changed my life.
What about the TV exposure?
TV exposure was good.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
That experience?
I got, I had the experience of getting recruited onto the show. So I got to skip a lot of the whole like waiting at the conference center for 2 days, to go play. Yeah. So that was a blessing. They asked me to do it the year before and I didn't do it because I just got the Bluebird for the first time. Yeah. And so I didn't want to not do that. So the next year comes back around. They're like, this is going to be so good for you. Let's go. So I decided to try it.
Tell us about the show. What's the name of it?
It's America's Got Talent on NBC.
Yeah.
So I had a really good time there. I wasn't sure whether I was going to sing or play. And when I got there, everybody and their mother was singing and I didn't see anybody else with the fiddle. Yeah. And I'm very protective of my writing too. So I was like, well, I don't want to like give somebody else my publishing rights for a TV show. Yeah. So I'm going all in on the fiddle and I'm just going to play whatever they're not expecting. So
what was the first song?
First song, I had so much trouble getting this song cleared legally with them.
Because you have to do that. Yeah. People don't think about that.
Yeah. And I was like, being an entrepreneur, they're like, well, we just don't know how we're going to do this with System of a Down. And I saw that one of the lead singer from System of a Down followed me on Instagram. Hey man, this is Philip. I know this is odd. Is there any way you can talk to your people and clear this song for me? Absolutely.
It was that simple.
So Serge from System of a Down cleared the song. So I go out there on stage with this 105-year-old fiddle from West Virginia and I start ripping over System of a Down.
What song was it?
Chop Suey.
Yeah, which is an amazing song. Especially like if you're doing CrossFit or you're on a run or something, you want to hear that song.
And that look is like people were like, and I could feel it as 5 seconds in. I was like, oh, I got him. So then it was
unexpected.
Yeah. Which is the whole point. My goal was to stay on the show as long as possible because I don't care who you are, what you're doing. 8 to 10 million viewers on national TV. Yeah. Let's go. So then what I did is the night I was aired on the season premiere, we dropped Old Kanawha, the song. The first track off that record.
That's smart.
Boom. And then when I was on the live shows, that's when it gets very serious. They put way more time and resources into you. I was out in Pasadena for a very long time. And I finally got this Dropkick Murphys song cleared for the live. And I wanted a full band. They gave me a full band. I wanted pyro. They gave me pyro. Yeah. So when I found out that same week I was on the lives, I was on live TV 4 times that week.
It's crazy.
And we just dropped the whole album. So my theory was I really don't care how you get into my music world. I felt like this when I was in the business world. If I can just get the interview, I know I can get the job. Mm-hmm. I know I can. Yeah. Just put me in front of people. Exactly. So, and you got to believe in yourself that way. If you don't, how do you expect anybody else to? You got to be your own biggest advocate.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so that's how that all came to be, and I had a great experience on NBC. I still keep in touch with those people. My music producer was a guy, this guy Scott he's from Morgantown.
Yeah.
I'm sure you. Oh my goodness, my mind is mush right now. But anyways, he's a great dude, and anyway, we have this random West Virginia. Scott Simon. Thank you very much.
His dad was a longtime meteorologist on
WBOI,
where later on in my career, I was a general manager there. So it's kind of wild. And I know Scott, and he's like,
great guy.
He's been on that show for forever. A keyboard player.
He got a really cool job. Music arranger. Shout out to Scott.
Yeah.
We were texting the other day. Like, I made a really good relationship. And
how cool is that?
I was in LA last February for some stuff, and I stopped by and saw the AGT people. It was good for me in a different way. Like, is that exposure outside of my genre? Everyday American who maybe they don't like Americana, folky, Appalachian stuff, whatever you call this genre I'm in. Yeah. But people buy from people they like.
Yeah,
so if I can get them in, I'll get them in.
That's amazing. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back. In a world obsessed with leadership, what if the real key to success is followership? We hear it all the time. Be a leader. Take charge. But what if the most impactful people aren't the ones leading from the front? In Humble Influence, I explore how humility collaboration, and shared purpose empower followers to create meaningful change in business, organizations, and relationships. Discover the strength of true followership with humble influence. Folks, we're visiting with Philip Bowen. Philip is a musician raised in Montgomery, West Virginia, and he is known internationally as a fiddle player, a songwriter, a musician, and he makes his living now in music. So, Philip, thanks again. So, for people who aren't interested or not familiar, not interested, but not familiar with the music industry, what's one of the biggest challenges you face?
Well, I think that one of the biggest challenges you face is the decision, okay, am I going to be fiercely independent and for how long? And I would say, if you boil that down, it's kind of finding the right team. Because in terms of management, you need a really great advocate, not somebody that's kind of into your stuff. Yeah. So having the ability to like look at it objectively and be like, okay, maybe this isn't the fit. Let's move on. Yeah. Same with like an agent, like a booking agent. You got to have a team that really believes in you. And then, like I said, it does sound a little bit cheeseball, but there's no substitute for the work either. So no matter what level you're at. So I don't have the ability to just sit back and, well, I hope things work out and hope this person really gets after it. So I'm always looking ahead. And I think the challenge in this business is it's such a comparative industry every day of your life. Social media, even your own friends, you can find yourself like for example, one of my biggest music goals on my wall that I haven't done yet, I've checked off a lot of things, is to step into the circle at the Opry and play a song I've written. I still haven't got to do that. And last year I had 6 people I know personally get their Opry debut. So it's really easy to look at that, even though you love this person, and be like, what am I doing?
I'm
Why
happy
not
for
me?
you.
It's not good enough. Exactly. So that's the grind of this business. You have to be very comfortable with people not seeing you or hearing you for what you think you should be and still believing.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. That's
so
great
meeting
insight.
people like you are out at shows especially, you're hearing somebody sing a lyric back that you've written. There's nothing like that in the whole universe. Are people telling you what the song means to you? Okay, I got one more day. Yeah. I can do this again.
Yeah. I would love to get your thoughts on artificial intelligence in music right now.
I was talking to a musician friend yesterday that's very worried about this. And I could see those concerns. However, I really have to believe, because I do it for my job, that I had a situation a couple months ago where people had got some strings, like AI strings for their track, and no one was happy. So then I got the work because they didn't like how it sounded. Yeah. And I was like, let me give it to you like this, and especially for the songwriting and stuff like that. I think that AI is perfectly capable of making I see these videos on TikTok all the time. Yeah. What if whatever was a whatever genre song? Yeah. And they could do that in 2 seconds. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But I think for like real music and that you're writing, the thing is, there's no use wondering it's here. It's just like when people are like, well, gosh, what are we going to do? There's cars now. What about all the carriages? Yeah. Well, nobody uses cars anymore.
Exactly.
Adapt or die. Yep. So that's how I feel.
You don't know this about me because we just met, but I'm a drummer. I've been a drummer since I was a little kid, and that's how I paid my way through college. And I play in a band still to this day. But and I've done some recording with Zach Record, actually, which is pretty cool. But I've been kind of embracing. I consider myself an innovator. I embrace innovation. With AI when it first came out, and I've been. How I got into the advertising and marketing business was my love of writing. I love to write little stories and poems and songs when I was in college, and that's what spurred me into my career. The past 38 or 39 years now, and so I started using some AI writing tools, and it is amazing. But I agree with you 100% that you cannot duplicate the human. The human touch and music.
Can't lose your own voice.
Yeah. And I think it's like good for demo. Like if you want to put out a little demo and say, hey, now I've got this song and let's get a band together and record this song or go out and play it live. I think that's where the AI is going to be really cool. It helps you speed up the demo process.
It does. And I think if you're a major label artist or if you're somebody who's already making a good living in music, it's easy to look down at somebody who is doing that and be like, well, I mean, you could have hired me. Well, okay, but like I don't have that to do that. And for like workflow, for productivity, my admin, like we both use like ChatGPT all the time for analytical stuff, for social media metrics, like, hey, download my entire YouTube history and give me 5 outputs, XYZ. Give me a report.
Give me a strategy.
Exactly.
5 things to do. Yeah.
Find me 4 competitive compares quickly.
I love it.
You know, and then how do I play against
so smart.
Blah, 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 blah.
Well, you're a marketing guy, so you're thinking that way too,
Always.
which I think is amazing. Yeah, it's kind of fun because you know, when I talk to people about AI music, because I have a lot of musician friends and they're mostly against it, and I say, well, you know, at one point somebody started using a paintbrush. And his buddies were like, "Hey, you got to be better than us. You can't use your finger like we're doing.
Exactly it.
You have to use this new tool."
It's a tool.
That's what it is. So
just like in the agency world, I mean, in my old life, people were terrified at first, like all the graphic designers and the artists, and I understand the fear of that. But the most successful people that I know in the business found out how to use it as a tool to their advantage, and so it's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
so,
and embrace it, I think, and figure out how you can use it to the.
I agree.
But keep the human touch. That's going to be the differentiator.
It's a must.
So Philip, you know, thinking back to your days as a 4-year-old boy when you first touched that violin, that fiddle, in Montgomery, West Virginia. There may be a young person out there listening to this that may be saying, "Wow, I've always wanted to be a musician." What would you say to them in terms of advice? Like pursuing this as a career path, what would you say to them?
I mean, I always tell my kids when we're talking about this that it may not be probable that you'll get to do what you love for your job and really make a good living with it, but it's absolutely possible. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Now, you may not have the same gift that I have with whatever instrument I use, but I do think that one of the things to look at, because we will get emails all the time. I got one yesterday. Hey, I'm in wherever, I'm starting out. Can you listen to this and tell me like your secret, blah, blah. And I always am up for a chat. But I think a lot of times the temptation is to look at this and think that there is some substitute out there for the work. Or sometimes I'll get asked in interviews like, I bet you feel so lucky this kind of happened overnight. I was like, the first year I was home in 2020, I was doing 20 to 25 hours of live streaming from home a week. I did thousands of hours into the void, it seemed like to me at times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen the same way for everybody. And whatever that end point is for you, you really have to start with the end in mind. So what does success look like to me?
I love it.
And make it like, have a moonshot goal, sure. But what can I do today and this week and this month? And the process part of this is what kills a lot of folks. That, well, I can't think of it like that. Okay, well, if it's your job and it's a music business, you have to figure it out, or somebody's going to come in and do that for you at some point and take all your lunch.
Yeah.
And so I do think it really helps. It's hard to do sometimes for folks if they've never done it, but to try to figure out what success looks like to you, what the end looks like to you, and then start working backwards into something I can do right now, today, tomorrow, and try to plan it out. And then you can change. Absolutely, you can change.
Yeah, that's great advice and great wisdom, Philip. Thank you for sharing that. And I would almost say like that you could apply that to any craft.
Absolutely.
You know, a trade. I'm big on the trades right now. I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for entrepreneurship here in West Virginia for people that want to turn a wrench or work on an HVAC system. Absolutely. Or whatever. Be a plumber. But a musician. That's something that's. I kind of relate to what you're saying, though, to be honest with you, because as a college student, like I said, I started playing the drums in bands, like rock bands, cover bands, when I was in high school. Taught myself how to play the drums, really, and had a broken neck and was being homeschooled.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, can I play the drums? I remember my mom and dad got me a drum set. It was they called it champagne, but it was pink sparkle. Yes. Like it was an off-brand drum kit. Yeah, I'm like, seriously, why'd you get me a pink drum set? But what happened was I taught myself how to play the drums, listening to Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones, playing Beast of Burden. Yeah. And I must have listened to that song 5,000 times. Yeah. And I just learned that groove, and that's how I taught myself. But at one point, I thought, I don't think I could. I don't think I'm good enough to play drums. I mean, I had paid my way through school, playing in gigs and everything, and I played gigs. And God would call me, Al Anderson, Morgan. Hey, Jimmy, you playing Saturday night? And I'm like, no, meet me at the VFW. And I'd show up, and there'd be a conga player, myself, and a bass player. I'm like, this isn't even a band. Yeah. And Al would sing these soul songs, and we'd play music together. But I never, I didn't think that I had it. And probably what it was like the commitment. And what you were talking about, like go all in, and because if I would have done that, I could have been a musician, I as I look back at it, I still play in a band, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Albuterol and the Inhalers.
That's it. That's
a group of doctors,
And I do think it's easy because of sometimes what you hear around you when you're from West Virginia specifically, or Appalachia, anywhere, that like, well, is it really? Can you really do it? Yeah. But I have found this is true. Like I have had no bigger support in the world than my home state. Like when I was doing AGT, they told me they've never got remotely close to the amount of views and votes that I got from this region.
Really?
There's never. I'm telling you, I played a show in Idaho last year, and there was a couple that drove 3 hours. We used to live in Winfield, and you just have no idea what it means to our state. And I was like, you know what it means to me? So that's what's so special about me. I love coming home and playing anytime I can because West Virginians show up for each other. And so I think that's good to remember when we are doing the thing.
Yes.
That like if we can find the people in our community doing the thing as well, to support them. It's very symbiotic. Somebody opened a restaurant or coffee shop, go to it.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And I love your heart for our state. What impact do you think your music's having in the world out there? This maybe a introspective question, but what do you think?
I have always really endeavored to write music and words and lyrics and all that helps people through their difficult times for sure, but then also helps them make the most of it and enjoy the good times. So all I really care about on the career side is just telling a meaningful story that finds people where they are. And so when people come up to me, and it doesn't matter if it's 50 people, 500 or 5,000, I'm at that merch table to the last person that's there because it does mean so much to me. Like it used to be a completely dead dream for me. And so when people can tell me like, oh, this got me through this, I would have never thought of that. That's amazing. It's very humbling. And it's validating for sure because, sometimes does anybody care? Yeah. Especially in the early days, does anybody even care at all? Man, and
that's so good.
Yeah, there's nothing. So I don't know if it can help people through their day to day. These are tough times. So
you mentioned playing into the void, live streaming, and that when you said, "Does anybody care at all?" I mean, I relate to that. That hits home with me because, as a marketing person, this person puts out a lot of content on social media. I'm like, man, does this even matter? I feel like I'll share this with you in our audience, but I do feel like every day when I wake up, I am doing what exactly I was created to do. And I get the sense of that from you too.
There is. And I think that is what I could never shake is that I don't think I was obviously important that I was taking care of my family and stuff like that and providing in that way when I was working in my corporate job. But I always felt like I was meant for something different.
Yeah.
And it was almost as like every time that the door has seemed to close, I don't know if there's nowhere else to go or anywhere else I can take this thing, that I feel like the door has been open and it's like, well, I'm not done yet. Like, here you go. Yeah. Here you go. And, I definitely feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do. And I think that's why it's still work. There are still very challenging days.
Yeah.
And it's very vulnerable when you start something, if you're opening a business or I'm going to go be this or I am this now. And people will line up around the block to tell you what you can't do. They will. And you just have to show up anyway. And then those same people will come back around, hey, can I get tickets? And so, which is okay. It's like
that's awesome.
It's a long grind of getting it done.
Philip, you're a leader. You're a leader here in our state of West Virginia, doing really cool stuff. Almost as a representative, a steward for West Virginia, and somebody who is carrying out our message here, working with tourism and on those things. You're a leader in your family. You're leading yourself, right? What do you think is one of the most important attributes of a successful leader today?
Well, that's high praise. Thank you for saying that. I think that one of the most important things as a leader is to you never forget the human side of things. When you're working with people, no one likes feeling like they're just a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
Or that I could be replaced tomorrow.
Yeah.
And people wake up every day with different things on their plate, and you don't know what somebody's going through. So I think as a leader, if we can try and show real human empathy, it doesn't mean we need to let ourselves get walked on. It just means that we don't forget the person. And I think it's very important to be honest with people. Like, just like in a family. My wife and I, it's been such a crazy adventure these past couple of years.
I can imagine.
And she is the greatest human that's ever lived. She's been like, every time I've got something big, she's like, of course you did. Of course you did. But it is challenging. Figure out, how do I land when I come home? How much touring is too much touring? As much as I love being a musician, being dad's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
So I have no desire to miss out on my children's life. Yeah. So being a leader means to realize that you don't have it all figured out and to communicate like anything else in life.
I love it. Yeah.
Communicate the vision together, try to see it clearly.
Good. Yeah. Thank you for
say
sharing.
when you're wrong.
Yeah. I'm a student of leadership. So when I hear these messages, it's so powerful and impactful to me. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. When I think about everything we've talked about today, I just feel like your heart is so big. I saw a video on social media the other day, and you didn't have a fiddle in your hand. You weren't on a stage. You were kind of walking through the woods.
Yes.
And you had a message.
Yes.
Would you maybe share a little bit about your thoughts on that and where that came from? And
I mean, I was stuck in Alabama on the way. I was supposed to be in another place recording. It didn't work out because of a storm. My day's all thrown off.
Yeah, we're recording this in January of 2026.
Recording this in January 2026. So there's, we remember this big ice and snowstorm that came through. Yeah. And I was having a lot of feelings of anxiety and stress, like just watching the news and the world around me. And however you fall, left, right, center, I don't really think it matters in that sense. This is not a political message. This is what I was just saying. A human message of like... Yeah. It is so easy to fall into this path of forgetting the human. Well, this has happened to this person. Maybe it doesn't make me feel comfortable, but maybe it's for the best, Yeah. And we don't see our neighbor anymore. We see somebody that's not from where I'm from or whatever that might be.
Yeah.
However that falls for you. And I do think it's very important to remember that you're a person, if you can try your best to show empathy today and like love your neighbor as yourself, I think that will take care of a lot of those things. And I have no control over what somebody in DC does or somebody on the other side of the world does. I can control my own output.
Yeah.
And, I just think the temperature of that stuff gets so hot. And I don't think there's anybody in our country that doesn't feel that. I was at Folk Alliance. There's people from around the world asking me how I was doing. That had fears of coming because of how's it actually like here. Yeah. It shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, right.
And so I think that what we can do for ourselves, however you fall on that side of the line, is to just try your best to take a deep breath and be the person you want to work with or the person you want to live next to.
Yeah.
And I think that will solve a lot of our problems.
That's awesome, man. It all starts with love.
100%.
Honestly. Yep.
It sounds cheesy, but it's easy to forget that.
Yeah. You mentioned you went to a Christian school. Are you a person of faith?
I am. I'm a believer. My faith has been a huge help to me.
Yeah.
I've had a long kind of winding journey with it. Yeah. And I think I've come around to like a great place in the last couple of years. But it's never like left me completely. Yeah. And I don't know how you can do the tides of life without a partner that really believes in you and without like faith beyond yourself. And I think it's been a huge comfort to me and a huge help, and just as a source of strength and like something to lean on. Yeah. So yeah,
that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
It's a little personal question there, but I just felt led. Maybe it was the Holy Spirit talking.
Yeah, exactly. I've had people that work in that world like professionally.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got to ask. I was like, man, that's how I praise that. I'm glad you see me that as somebody of genuine kindness in that way. And I by no means have all the answers.
Yeah.
I have bad days a lot, but like
it's part of the journey.
It
right?
is, yeah.
So Philip, let me ask you, like, you've gotten to perform with lots of cool people, and everything. Is there one that stands out as like, wow, I can't believe I got to do that?
Oh man, I got to play on stage with Darius Rucker once. That was really fun. He's been really nice to me.
So cool.
Really cool. I did this big run with Dwight Yoakam last year. He was a really cool dude. Still got the moves, like really professional and really kind.
Could you ever imagine, like,
no,
Dwight Yoakam?
And I'll tell you, like, to go back to Mountain Stage, like Tim O'Brien, who's from our state,
of course,
I was next to last and he was last. And during my set, I look over and Tim's watching, and then I got to sing with Kathy Mattea, and I mean, this place was wall to wall, and it's a hometown crowd for me. I think everybody could feel what it was meaning to me, and I was getting I just got to finish. I was getting so emotional and so choked up. We finished our song, get this big standing O, and Kathy comes over and gives me the biggest hug. She's like, "This is what it's all about, right?" And I was like, yeah. She's like, you could just cry. I was like, okay. I was so overcome because it was at a moment where it really felt like I was completely done. I was the only artist at Mountain Stage with no merch. I put a stop order on my merch. I was like very blue. I was not in a good spot in that way. And then to have this like injection quickly of, everybody showed up. Everybody showed up. Everybody I knew that I hadn't seen, everybody just showed up.
So amazing.
Yeah. And so
I feel that.
Yeah. It was like hugely impactful for me. And so, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of neat. You mentioned Kathy Mattea. We talked about Charles Wesley Godwin. There's so much,
what a guy. Yeah.
So much talent that's, really came from the state of West Virginia.
Yeah.
I had Ron Sowell on the podcast. He's the music director for Mountain Stage a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about this very thing and all the just amazing talent and just good people, that have come out of West Virginia. And I definitely consider Philip Bowen one of those. So
I appreciate that.
That's pretty cool. Philip, we've covered a lot in this interview. Is there anything you think our folks should know, our audience should know about you or your story?
I would just say that I feel very humbled, especially when I'm back here and people will stop me for things or they see me as whatever in our region. It's really kind. I appreciate that. Like when you grow up in West Virginia, anybody of note that's even doing anything remotely out there in the world.
Yeah.
And so to be like, when I got here last night, there was a family out there, and this like 12-year-old boy came and was like, "Hey, oh my goodness, like, can you?" I was like, "Yeah, I could talk to you." That's very surreal,
I could imagine.
Very surreal. Yeah. And so thank you, I guess, to everybody that bothers to come to a show or listens. Like, come see me on tour this year. I'd love to meet you. Yeah. We'll be in West Virginia a couple times for sure, no matter what.
I love it.
So
it's
come
cool.
see me anytime.
So Philip, how can folks learn more about you? Maybe even get in touch with you, and most importantly, hear your music. What's the best way for them to do that?
I'm out there on social media a little bit. You can find me, just look for my name. Same with like Spotify and Apple and all that kind of stuff. If you want to listen, and then my website's just Philip Bowen Music. I get asked probably once a month if that's like a stage name that I thought up. It's not. It's my actual last name, So it just worked out really great. Yeah. Philip Bowen Music is my website.
Because you're Bowen, and you're kind of like Bowen. Yeah,
that's it. I get asked awesome. All the time.
I love it.
What's the actual like Billy Strings? I was like, no, it's like my actual. It's my whole life as my name. And if you want to work together on the business side of things, the same thing. Like I love doing.
That's awesome.
Interesting stuff outside my normal zone. So reach out.
That's very cool. I definitely appreciate our conversation. I think you've shared a lot of wisdom with our audience today, Philip. I just want to say I'm a fan. Number one, I've already said that, but I'm a fan. I think what you're doing to promote West Virginia, your music, and just the heart that you have for people is just awesome. I want to encourage you to keep up the great work.
Very kind. Thank you very much. And this has been awesome.
Yeah, Thank you. Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on our show, please drop us a line on our website at positivelywv.com. We of course, appreciate your comments, your reviews of our podcast, and most importantly, sharing these great stories like that of Philip Bowen. It not only helps our show, but it helps, more importantly, helps Philip get his word out there and exposes people to his music. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today, Mr. Jimmy Murray behind the controls, I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, Interaction Media, Humble Influence, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positivelywv.com/sponsor.